right, you guys, happy Monday. A little bit of history for you today. It was after the public execution of sitting President JFK in 1963 that the CIA established Operation Mockingbird. Deep state assassinations required deep state solutions. They spent an offensive amount of money to control the press and to control the narrative, to put an end to the public asking common sense questions about what actually transpired on that fateful day in Dallas. To put it simply, the deep state declared a psychological warfare campaign on the people. In effect, their soldiers were the journalists and the writers, their goal obviously to get people to just stop asking questions, to almost criminalize asking questions via methods of gaslighting. Fast forward to 2025, and they're running the exact same playbook. Charlie Kirk was assassinated in broad daylight, and they immediately deployed their troops to criminalize asking questions.
What are you supposed to take from the everyone? You know what I mean?
I think the implication was dramatic, and I think a lot of people reading this would assume that she meant Erica Kirk.
Either Erica Kirk is evil and was in on it, or Candace Owens is an evil.
I didn't know what Candace Owens is doing right now. It's evil. It is evil what she's doing right now.
Post-Harley, there was so much unity, so much excitement, so much resurgence in faith and newfound interest in faith, and that now there is discord, so many distractions, and that's just insane. He comes to steal, kill, and destroy. He is called the great accuser. He is the sower of discord, the author of confusion.
The reason I haven't waited on things is I have an eyewitness to events, and they said, don't comment on things because anything you say can mess up. I don't want to mess up any trial for the person who said that's 1,000% right.
But Candace Owens is well within her rights to suggest certain things and all this, and she has a right to free speech and all that. That's fine. She's right to ask questions. I just think it is hurtful and not helpful when you cross a line to strongly suggest somebody's guilty of something for which you have no evidence.
Challenge accepted, Frank Turner. Let's go Max today. Welcome back to Candace. Pastor Rob McCoy, let's not forget him too, because he's the spawn of naval psychological intelligence, psychological campaigns upon the public. And here's what he has to say about matters. Take a listen.
I want to read you a passage out of Romans. It says in Romans 12:15 and 16, rejoice with those who rejoice, and weep with those who weep. Be of the same mind toward one another. Do not set your mind on high things, but associate with the humble. And do not be wise in your own opinion. I think that's a fitting verse. I mean, we're hearing all kinds of speculation about Charlie and what he believed and didn't believe, and I just have to tell you, it's not the time for it. It's a time to minister to the family. They have a husband and a father to bury. We have a friend to bury, a brother to bury, a son to bury, and the world is mourning. And this is not the time to get clicks. It's not time to build your empire. It's time to just simply weep with those who weep. And it's time to just humble yourself and not make it all about you. It's about the Lord.
To hear that, Christians asking questions, it's not about you. I mean, is there anything that they didn't try? You're making money off of this. It's unbiblical. Charlie wouldn't want this. His family is grieving. Not right now. Let's at least wait a couple of weeks. It's going to ruin the case. You'll get into heaven as long as you don't think about it. If you don't think about what happened on 9/10, then you're guaranteed a slot into heaven. You know, I used to really lament the fact that I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks. Seriously, I hated that I didn't grow up rich. Who didn't, right? Who does not hate if you grow up without a lot? That you weren't just born into the right circumstances. And now I reflect on those feelings, and I wouldn't change a single thing. I am actually so grateful. That's what I want to say today. I am so grateful about where I started my life in St. John's Towers. I look at that building now with such pride, and I am grateful to have not grown up with a silver spoon in my mouth because it fortified my character, and it gave me a lot of common sense. Basic survival skills. It requires gut instinct. And I had to learn at a very young age to read people. I think that's my superpower, actually. Just being able to look at someone and sense danger or sense deceit. I can just look at Rob McCoy, and for me, it's a no. It's obviously a no. Same thing, by the way, I should mention with Steven Crowder. I have never been a fan. He just always gave me the energy of a pathological liar. I trust my gut. I don't trust influencer campaigns. I don't trust celebrities because they're raising their arms and they glitter and shine and they tell me that I should roll up my sleeves and get a vaccine. I don't listen to any of that. I trust my gut instincts, always. And my gut started to tell me that they suddenly began panicking when I discovered the Egyptian planes. They did what we now term a pre-bunking, right? A pre-bunking is when you say something casual and it'll debunk you, but they're just so extreme in not debunking you that they even lie about what you said, and that lie tends to actually foreshadow something that they don't want you to know. So I'll give you a perfect example. On October 11th, when I infamously tweeted about the Egyptian military plane that left Provo on the morning of Charlie Kirk's assassination, I got the time zone wrong by a couple of hours. And they completely overreacted. I mean, an account didn't even exist. Where, oh, the time zone is wrong, eventually, it was trending, and they pretended it had been officially debunked just because the departure time was wrong. That wasn't even enough for that. They were so alarmed. And I was off air at that time, right? I took a 2-week break. They still found something to scandalize when I wasn't even on air, something that I didn't even say. They sent undercover operatives to sign up for my private book club that I kept on Tuesday, and then they took out a clip of that book club, from that book club, and accused me of accusing Erica of murdering her husband. I mean, they manufactured that claim out of thin air, and then they made it go viral. They sent it out to all the right people, Steven Crowder, right? Everyone suddenly making videos saying that because I said he was betrayed by everyone, obviously what I meant was Erica Kirk murdered her husband. And this was all happening because I mentioned the Egyptian plane. I am certain of it. And so that you can look backward and really see how these psychological campaigns work, I want you to watch this clip of Steven Crowder trying to convince people that despite the words that are coming out of my mouth, they shouldn't listen to what I'm saying. He actually knows what I really meant, which is something that I didn't say. And yeah, here it is. Here's that clip.
But you watch this clip in its entirety, and it seems pretty blatant that she's saying, and people are interpreting it this way, which is also important, that the Trump administration, not whatever it was, we went from underground Jew tunnels, Mossad, the Trump administration killed Charlie Kirk.
I just really needed to just take a breather and really process everything that happened with Charlie and what it kind of means in terms of where we are. And I think it is a circumstance where we just know. We just know that he was truly betrayed in one of the most egregious ways that I think I've ever seen. It has made me lose faith in politics. It has made me fully lose faith in Trump. And my heart aches for the fact that he gave so much of his life to Trump and to politics. And they just were like, nope, that is it. And he serves us or doesn't serve us, and we want to move on. And so here's a holiday. Bro, if they try to give me a holiday, what is with them giving people a holiday after they kill them? Why is that a thing? You know what I mean? Like, oh, Martin Luther King, what about this holiday? What about this boulevard? Anyways, let me knock out. Like, they're gonna get talking about the boulevard. They already did. They did in Israel. They gave them freaking boulevard. It's like, as soon as they give you a boulevard in the holiday, they definitely killed you. Okay, there's no question. They killed you. There's no way. That's like their signature thing. It's like that's what they do. It's the Fed signature. It's how they sign off after they murder you. They like holiday and a boulevard. And it's never on the nice side of town either. It's like Charlie Kirk Boulevard's not gonna be a nice side of town. Anyways, I will be back on August 27th with you guys. Thank you guys for all the support throughout these couple of weeks, these last really kind of 6 weeks since Charlie died. And we will see you guys then.
Well, let me first be tactful here and tell you that outrageous claims, and this is an outrageous claim, require outrageous evidence. Of course, as is par for the course, none has been presented. You know who's really close to President Trump, and you know who people are now saying stood to gain? Well, Charlie's wife, Erica Kirk, who has now been put, Candace with that language, with this accusation, has put the wife of Charlie Kirk, and she'll say, that's not what I tried to get. It is. It's the result. Erica Kirk in the crosshair. There's no middle ground here right now. Either Erica Kirk is evil and was in on it, or Candace Owens is an evil.
No matter how many times I watch that clip of me talking about Martin Luther King Boulevard and Charlie Kirk Boulevard, I do not get from that Erica Kirk killed her husband, but that's what they went with. Those were talking points that were delivered to them. They were supposed to go out of the gate with that. The question is why. Okay? Retrospectively, that was a clue. They were panicking. They were trying to pretend, me saying that everyone betrayed him, which obviously was not about Erica. It also wasn't about Charlie's mother or Charlie's father or Charlie's children. But they were specifically trying to struggle session that into a slight against Erica, rather than more obviously suggesting that people at Turning Point USA betrayed him, which Erica Kirk was not an employee of leading up to his death. Why were they doing that? Then, of course, that made me only look further into the Egyptian planes, and I discovered that the planes had been tracking Charlie. We showed you guys this, right? We created this document, and we organized it SUBND, being the blue plane, and then tail number SUBTT being the yellow plane. That seems to have struck even more fear into the nest of mockingbirds. In fact, they sent Mother Mockingbird out, Ben Shapiro, to make the exact same wild allegation out of thin air, that I said something specifically about Erica when I had not. Again, I'll ask the question, why Erica? Why didn't Ben on stage say she accused Mikey or Rob McCoy? I've done multiple episodes now on Mikey McCoy, on Rob McCoy, speaking about Andrew Colbeck, Alex Clark. Why do they keep going back to Erica? What is it about these Egyptian planes that were making them spiral? Now, I'm going to let you guys know right now that it is difficult to investigate a matter, especially when it involves a person that you know, because there are minor things that I immediately noticed that were off or unlikely that would not have necessarily alarmed the general public. For example, one of the earliest alarms that went off for me was the fact that Terrell Farnsworth, the guy who takes out the SD cards, was there at all. Okay? Terrell does not do college campus events. He doesn't do that. He's at the top of the company. He does the big events, the SAS, the AmFest. He does not do college events. But of course, he told me they were trying something new that day. And it must have been so new that it was over by the next event after Charlie died, because he wasn't there again. So he just, out of the blue, was at this event, and then he wasn't, and he secured the SD cards. Okay? It was something that I noticed that the rest of the world would not have taken as a concrete fact. It is also how I felt, I'm sharing this with you now for a reason, when I learned that Charlie flew into Salt Lake City that morning. Because why didn't he fly into the much closer Provo airport? Now, ostensibly, the answer is because he had an interview with a person that nobody really knows. He's a managing director of a restaurant fund. Andrew K. Smith, out of nowhere, does this restaurantology interview with Charlie, and so Charlie flew into Salt Lake to make this interview happen. That, to me, felt like an oddity, okay? Because in a typical scenario, Charlie is not going to be incentivized to go out of his way, because he would only do it, actually, if there was a big donor on the hook, and maybe that's what he was told, this guy's going to give a ton of money to Turning Point USA, or B, because it was a major political person. Otherwise, for the sake of a podcast, people travel to Charlie, okay? If you want to get Charlie, a common thing that always happened was they would set up an interview in an empty room at the campus, at UVU campus. They would have this guy in the corner, and Charlie would have flown into Provo. So I felt, and didn't share at this time, that they diverted Charlie Kirk to Salt Lake City for a reason, okay? Something else you should know about Charlie is Charlie was obsessed with planes. My husband and him actually shared this in common, where every time we board a plane, Charlie would know exactly, like, way too many facts about the plane. If we boarded an old American Airlines flight, he'd be like, oh, they actually took these planes out of service in the 1970s. He just had a lot of Snapple facts when it came to planes, something that I just do not dedicate any of my time into learning about. He really liked planes and knowing everything about them. And more crucially, I want you guys to understand this, Charlie had a photographic memory. He did. Donor names, emails, numbers. Charlie Kirk was a walking Excel sheet.